According to an old song from the 60s, happiness is different things to different people. In the world of IT, a requirement is just like that. That means, as someone who needs to explain business needs to tech savvy people, you've got a challenge on your hand. You see, there's a huge gap between what constitutes a requirement to the top dogs in a business and to those hardworking code wizards tucked away in the basement. And that is the exciting part of our journey. You need requirements that define all aspects of a digital solution, from high-level business aspirations to intricate technical details. That can be pretty overwhelming for even the most experienced among us. And if that wasn't enough, we also encounter a plethora of sources, stages, names, and formats for these requirements, especially when we consider the different software development approaches. But don't despair. There's an organization called the International Institute of Business Analysis, aka IIBA, that's here to guide us through this labyrinth. They help us understand and classify these requirements effectively, making our journey a whole lot smoother. To embark on this adventure, let's start with their business analysis body of knowledge, or BABOK. That's a phenomenal source that provides definitions for a variety of different levels or types of requirements. First up, we have business requirements. Now, according to the IIBA, business requirements are the big picture goals that our project sponsors want to achieve. You can think of these as the broad qualitative statements like increase customer satisfaction or boost sales. These express the lofty thoughts of the C-suite or the owners of the company, and they need to be expressed in their language. By defining clear business requirements up front, we can align our project with the organization's goals, and that'll make sure that the resulting digital solution adds value to the organization. A good example of a business requirement could be our organization aims to reduce customer churn by 15% before the end of the fiscal year. That's a perfectly sensible goal that reflects a business-oriented requirement at the executive management level. Now, in order to deliver a digital solution that meets the defined business requirements, you need to capture stakeholder requirements, also often called user requirements. At this level, these help you understand what individuals and groups throughout the organization need to be satisfied. I'm talking here about, the directors, managers, and the worker bees, and really anyone who will interact directly or indirectly with the solution. However, beware. Stakeholder requirements often conflict with one another, so it's essential for those who practice business analysis to navigate these murky waters with a neutral attitude. You have to guide all involved stakeholders to a consensus. You need to foster better communication and collaboration across the board to achieve a common understanding, acceptance, and buy-in of all stakeholder requirements. Now, that's the only road that leads to a successful implementation. Stakeholder requirements can be written in a variety of formats, like plain old sentences in English or whatever language you speak. Or they can be constructs like user stories. We address user stories in another course in intricate detail. So in this course, we're focusing our attention on the plain old sentence requirement. Typically, these requirements define the expectations of various stakeholder groups, like top-level managers, customers, vendors, etc. And they help us understand what that group wants from a particular solution. This clarity allows us to design a solution that meets all of the diverse needs of all of the stakeholders while keeping the project on track. For an example of a stakeholder requirement, consider this. A mobile app user can track their package in real time, reducing uncertainty about delivery times. This appears to be a valid requirement for any user wanting to monitor their package's progress, providing valuable input for application development. Our journey in this course will focus mainly on business and stakeholder requirement, but I want to give you a sneak peek into solution and transition requirements, which are other requirement types defined in the BABOK. We explore those in other courses, so I'm not going to go into detail, but just to give you a heads up. Solution requirements are all about the features and functions needed to meet the business and stakeholder needs. They're usually divided into functional and non-functional requirements. Transition requirements, on the other hand, These are temporary steps that are necessary to move an organization from its current state to the desired state with the new product. They help identify activities required for a successful implementation and adoption. So, in conclusion, while it's important to understand the different types of requirements and their benefits, don't get too caught up in categorizing them. Your job is to get the requirements, so focus on understanding who cares about each requirement and what they need to know. With this approach, the classification will take care of itself, and you'll be well on your way to a successful project. Business analysts and anyone else who practices this esoteric art need to be at least aware of the various levels of requirements. So keep these requirements in mind as we navigate the world of writing requirements expressed in complete sentences.